it is better for us to reflect on that. It must be a day of celebration. Like a celebration of a family when they experience the birth of a newborn baby. A magical moment in a family. When we witness the manifestation of life in a human form. In harvest, it is the manifestation of life in fruits, of animal, of fish, or anything that is there in the farm that we harvest in a year. In the Old Testament, the Hebrew people, the understanding of harvest is a little bit more practical. They weave together their celebration with some act of kindness. So the people who are slaves, who are strangers or sojourners, they are offered some hospitality to come and stop by and have some moment of celebration in the community. In their homes, they expected to celebrate some prayers, dedicate the harvest, have a lot of food and drinks, and party. Obviously, it is a typical Middle Eastern culture where people are living in the moment, worried about tomorrow, just thinking about the harvest as a gift of God to them in a year. Another aspect of harvest for the Hebrew people is the acknowledgement of God's presence in their daily affairs. For them, it is a sacred moment when they found themselves in the middle of all the harvest with people in the community and also being conscious of God's presence with them. Talking about the impact of harvest as people, it affects human psyche so powerfully. And the Jews, thank God, they capture this as God is the positive energy that we can feel as people. It affects our emotions that drives us to do some celebration in dancing, feasting, and enjoying the company of others. People can feel recharged and hyped as they feel the energy given by God's creation to them as people. It is a miracle to see the impact of the collective action and that motion that ripples across the land to impact every form of life, including us. Einstein's theory of relativity in physics explains this, that everything in the world has motions and energy that are transmitted across from one creation to another in a mysterious way through space and time to make some effect. Harvest, in a similar way, reveal the presence of God's energy and creative force in our midst, that He is part and parcel of our life in space and time. In the first reading tonight from the book of Moses, the book of Deuteronomy, Moses gave us two feasts or festival that he wants to teach his people, the Israelites, back in those days. The Feast of Tabernacle and the Feast of Pentecost, to mark the importance of celebrating life with God in their midst. It was presented in a teaching form for the younger generations who were just born along the way. They missed the first initiation or the reading of the law. These are the younger generations, the Deuteronomy, the second reading of the law to the new generations of the Jews. And if you educate the younger generations to know these fundamental principles, that God is part of us and we are part of Him as well. Jesus illustrates this profound understanding of God, human connection, and the world by using the parable of the vine in John chapter 15. he gave us an equation. And that equation is this. God is the gardener, the unmoved mover, or the source of energy, and then Jesus Christ is the true vine, and the disciples, a community of people, are the branches of that vine. The disciples are not a separate vine, or even the gardener. The disciples are just a branch, dependable, vulnerable. He needs to remain in the vine in order to bear fruits, to make a difference, to be useful in the world they are living in, or they were living in. In such analogy, John highlighted that God alone has the power, he has the energy, he has the authority to place Jesus in this world, among his creation, so that he can impact the world by his energy, by his motion, by his life, so that everyone, all branches, can bear fruit, a fruit that glorifies God. John also reminds us that Jesus assumed the place of nature, a plant, a vine, to be his life, to be his body. So the world and the church and the human community are the body of Christ. So we have a moral responsibility. We are living in a difficult time now. We are fighting with the global warming. Even I came from the Pacific. We are struggling in the Pacific. There are so many low islands are getting submerged because of the rising sea level. It's not a matter of politics. It's a matter of life and death. We are fighting it every single day. So we have a moral responsibility. And all this encompasses the idea of harvest. We are a plant in God's field, and God cares for us because we are part of him. Harvest is an old festival that exists with humans, particularly among indigenous communities. Here in UK, it's so common here. The Hebrew people, they are indigenous community, and they have the Torah as their book. And that book defines their identity, their worldview, their concept of God, their sense of community, and also the understanding of the world at large, especially the sacredness of life, the sacredness of land, the sacredness of space they inhabit. In Fiji, where we come from, we also have our own version, our own understanding of that too. We value the land and the sea, the moana, as so sacred. We honor our relationship with that because we are part of a wider web of life, expressed in some of our rituals. I want to share one of our rituals with you to see the depth of this. One of the very prominent rituals that we still celebrate in Fiji today is the planting of a fallen umbilical cord from a newborn baby. Can you capture that? The fallen umbilical cord from a newborn baby after a few days being born. The day when the baby's umbilical cord just came off, the parents would prepare a feast to mark the burial of that umbilical cord baby to his piece of land, if he is a boy. The burial of ceremony, which is known as the transferal of the mothering robe from the child's biological mother, the womb of the mother, to the mother earth, the womb of the earth. If the child is a girl, her umbilical cord will be placed in the sea, signifying the maternal link between girls and the mother ocean. We are part of the land and the sea because they nurture us, they feed us. Very common in the Pacific, young girls, when they're young, were taught the skills of fishing. They love to go out and fetch fish in the sea and likewise to the boys to do farming as well. In the Fijian cosmology, the land and the sea are aligned. They have eyes, they have ears, and they have feelings as well. When we walk on the vanua, the land, meaning we have to behave in a certain way. We have to respect the land. We have to respect the ocean as part of us, and we are part of them as well. When somebody destroys the rhythm of connection between us and the land and the sea and everything in it, that will haunt us. That will come back at us in the future. All of us, we are part and parcel of that, and that was brought up by the Native Americans as well. When I was there doing my study in one of the theological school, college in the Midwest, I visited some of their natural reserves, their archives. They're very much into the land. And the land for them is their mother, the Native American people. Fast forward to the time of COVID-19. What can COVID-19 teach us about all this progress? I'm sure that this pandemic has taught us some very important lessons to learn about life and its value. COVID-19 has tested how comfortable are our homes. We have a real need of outer space. We can stay longer for months in the comfort of our homes. We are restless. We want to go out there. We want to walk our dogs. We want to see the light and breathe some fresh air. We want to see the leaves of the trees. We want to see the flower barns. We want also to be part of the open space out there, because we are part of those things. And also in this pandemic, the most difficult thing for many is to bear the pain of isolation, that we crave connectedness, that we belong to one another as God's people. We are rational beings. We need a wider space. We need to breathe. We need to socialize. We need to connect with a vast body of life that is out there, people, nature, and the rest of that. We need to embrace it. We need to look after it, because they look after us every single moment. Many times we worry too much about the things that are not so important, spend too much time and money and our headspace on them. What we need is a harmonious connection with God, with people of all races, people of all religions, people that are there, as you can say, as you can call as your neighbor, and even connecting yourself to yourself as well. We may have lost our loved ones in this pandemic time. Some of us may have seen their loved ones fighting the disease, but come back strong and healthy. I've learned a tough lessons the hard way. So in this harder service, we need to learn that we are part of God's family, part of God's body, part of God's system, which Jesus used often in the gospel as his kingdom. In his kingdom, there is a place for every single one of us. There is a place for you, there is a place for me. There is a place for your family. And we are connected to one another. There is no place for loneliness and isolation there, because we are part of a body. And all the bodies are interconnected to one another. And God will take care of us as he takes care of the harvest. And that's why we are here tonight to give him thanks. Amen.